Good morning. You have picked a great day to be here at UUMAN. We're going to be talking about witches and all kind of stuff. And singing songs that came from the Quakers. My name is Jim Saunders, and I've been a member here since 1993. So there was a time that I knew 90% of the people that went here, but I don't know everybody. As I age. But on behalf of Reverend Dave Dunn, today's speaker Meredith McCaskey, interim minister Liz Martin, director of religious education Lexi T. Brown, our music director Alex Peach, and the greeters and the technician team, they're making the live stream possible. I would like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation called UUMAN. That is due to the wisdom of Bob and Rosie Pop, who thought it would be difficult to say Unitarian Universal Metro Atlanta North congregation every time you wanted to talk about this congregation. UUMAN is a liberal faith community, and the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, whom you love, or where you are in your spiritual journey, all is welcome here. Welcome to all those joining us remotely. Hello out there in TV land. For all visitors who are with us for the first time, if you're comfortable doing so, if you could stand and tell us your name and where you're from so that we all may worship as friends. Any visitors on this side? Visitors? We're looking for visitors. So we have a homegrown group today. We joyfully welcome children and families in worship. The sounds of children are part of a living congregation. Nursery care for babies and toddlers is available and opens before the service begins. After the wondering time, children will be sung out to the Children's Chapel and Fellowship Hall. We have a couple of announcements. Are you new to UUMAN or just want to learn more about UU principles and values? Then please attend the UU 101 session during the second hour, next Sunday, July 19th. See Jesse Diaz for more information. Now, it sounds like a college course, UU 101, but there's no pass or fail. It's just a gathering of information. So now, I've got one other question for you. What time is it? It's howdy doody time. So stand and, as you're able, and greet your neighbor with a howdy.
Good morning. I'm Meredith McCaskey. Usually when I'm up here, I'm where Alex is right now as the substitute pianist, but today I am your worship leader. Our call to worship this morning is a poem called The Magic of Awareness, opening poem, by Anam Thupten Rinpoche. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Wonder, who has the magic to make the sun appear every morning? Who makes that bird on the elegant tree chirp? Breath, pulse, music, dew, sunset, the burning ambers of the fall. There is unfathomable joy in all that. Life is a stream. It flows on its own. No one knows why we are here. Stop trying to figure out the great mystery. The tea in front of you is getting cold. Drink it. Enjoy every drop of it. And dance. Dance until there is no more dancer. It is the dance without dancer. This is how the great mystics dance.
What happened to my script? Sorry about that. I want to invite Muriel Mikowski to light the chalice this morning as I tell you the Song of the Witches by William Shakespeare. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fillet of finny, snake, in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind woman's sting, lizard's leg and howler's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like the hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double, boil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. So now we have the wonder for all ages, and the woman speaking with the wonder is the one you need to see about UU 101. It's what? Oh, you want to go that route? Well, it's funny to read Shakespeare about witches and then follow that up with a Quaker song. But if you'll turn to hymn number 16. Now is time for Wonder Time you may have heard earlier.
Can we hear me? I probably don't even need the mic, do I? I'm so loud. Hey, guys. Did we all have a happy 4th? Yeah? Well, we know the 4th is over, so you know what time it is now? Halloween. It's Halloween, baby. Summerween. All right? See, we're already working on our costumes. We're already working on our decorations. See, you kids got your priorities straight. All right? Well, today we're going to read The Little Witch Who Lost Her Broom. Have we read? You read this? This is a classic. Your mom's birthday is on the 4th of July? That's a good one. I like that birthday better than what we celebrated this year. All right. Nice. I wish my birthday was on Halloween. Okay, so The Little Witch Who Lost Her Broom by Elaine Bickel. Little witch couldn't wait for the full moon to rise when witches on broomsticks would take to the skies. She called to her cat, "We fly tonight, Gloom," and they went to the cupboard to dust off her broom. The cupboard door creaked as it swung open wide, but oh, what a shock, there was nothing inside. "I've lost my broom, I've lost my broom." She searched the house, she searched each room. She checked all the closets, the attic, the shed, and even her cauldron and under her bed. "I must find my broom by the rise of the moon. I'm running out of time, it's mid-afternoon." "I need it tonight," she stamped her witch shoe. "I'm going to find it and you're coming too." So off they both walked past the park and the shop, her witchy high heels going clippity-clop. Look, oh yeah. Witches don't walk, I've got tired feet. If I had my broom, I would whoosh down this street. Look, here's a scooter. How about it, Gloom? Maybe a scooter is as good as a broom. Little witch jumped on, push, push, whee! Oh no, too small, only room for me. A witch with no cat, it's just not right. I cannot ride a scooter tonight. Look, here's a bike, let's ride it, Gloom. Maybe a bike is as good as a broom. They both hopped on, wobble, rattle, shake. Too fast downhill, quick, pull the brake. A witch on a bike is just not right. I cannot ride a bike tonight. Look, here's a digger. Let's use this, Gloom. Maybe a digger's as good as a broom. She pulled the lever, chugga chubba scrape. Oh dear, big hole, time to escape. A witch in a hole is just not right. I cannot use a digger tonight. I must find my broom by the rise of the moon. I'm running out of time, it's late afternoon. Look, it's a train, let's catch it, Gloom. Maybe a train is as good as a broom. A train pulled out, clickety-clack, choo-choo. One way on these tracks, this will never do. A witch on a train is just not right. I cannot catch a train tonight. Look, Gloom, a plane, let's give that a try. At least we know a plane can fly. She pushed the throttle, meow, whoosh, roar. Little witch cackled, faster, higher, more. This is the future. Wait till my friends see. They'll give up their brooms and go jet age with me. What a way to travel. This plane is very cool. Beep, beep, red light. Uh-oh, fuel. Back on the ground, she looked for the moon. Hardly any time left. It's sunset soon. As she looked at the sky, she peered out from this book, and she saw you. Do you know where to look? Have you guys seen a broom anywhere? Yes? Come on, reader, you know what to do. Tell her where it is. It's right behind you. Sorry, what's that? What did you say? Could you shout a little louder? I'm quite far away. Where is it, guys?
Behind you.
It's been there all along. Oh, what a naughty broom. Reader, you're amazing. Thank you. High five. Boom. Yeah, that's right. She can't keep up with anything. I know how she feels. And with that, she and Gloom hopped onto the broom, and off they flew with a cackle, meow, zoom.
At the beginning of every month, the Social Justice Committee provides us an update on the past 50/50 recipients collections. In May, we partnered with Make-A-Wish, and your generous contributions resulted in a donation to their work in the amount of $582.09. Thank you. Our 50/50 recipient today, or for July, is the North Fulton Charities Back to School Project. With us this morning is Dr. Amy Gates Strad. Since leaving public education, Gates Strad has continued her commitment and service by leading nonprofit organizations focused on youth development, community improvement, and enriched lives through targeting programs and comprehensive support. A Roswell resident for the past 10 years, Amy remains deep engaged in the local community. She contributes her time and her leadership as a board member of the Roswell NEXT. The Roswell Farmers Market, the Cottage School. She is also a nonprofit advisor and board member for the new vertical, an organization focused on providing pastoral care to business leaders, and has volunteered with Great Pyrenees Rescue of Atlanta for the past 7 years. After donating kidney to a stranger in 2023, my God. Gates Strad became a peer mentor for the National Kidney Foundation, supporting others through her own health journeys, and has been a peer member for the Crystal Fibrous Foundation for the past 5 years. Please welcome Amy Gates Strad.
Morning. It's nice to see familiar faces, actually. So you'll all find this funny. I come from a long line of Irish Catholics in New England. Uncle was a priest, the whole thing, right? Classic Irish Catholic. And, the priests were mean, and we spent a lot of time in confession, and my mother said the rosary like every night. So one of the best parts about this role, I've been invited to a lot of churches to speak, so just seeing different churches and services and worships, it's been super cool. So I just appreciate you having me. So I'm the new president of North Fulton Community Charities. I've been there in that role for, 3 months. I think 3 months this week. So the Back to School Drive is one of our seasonal programming. I know you all are very familiar with NFCC. We provide, we have the food pantry and the thrift store. We provide financial assistance to people to help prevent them losing their homes. So we pay rent or mortgages or utility bills to help people stay in their homes. And we also have a big initiative around workforce and education. So helping people be able to move beyond needing assistance. I always tell the staff, we're trying to work ourselves out of a job. We won't, but that's the goal, right? So people can get to a point where they feel like they can sustain their families on their own. That's a really good thing to strive for. So we're doing a lot with workforce and a lot with education in the coming 18 months. So that's really exciting too. But the Back to School Drive is a seasonal program. It's like coats giving and Thanksgiving. We have warm coats and food for Thanksgiving, and then Toyland at Christmas. So I have a cheat sheet because I won't remember all the numbers because, again, I'm only 3 months in. But so Back to School started in 1998. As you all know, NFCC's been around 40 plus years. So back to school started in 1998 with 350 children getting backpacks. And last year, I think they served over 1,100 students got backpacks. So if you can think back to when you were a kid, especially in this day and age with social media and some of the other pressures of being a kid, having a backpack, and a good backpack filled with the right things, is not just great for learning, but it's also great socially. Kids, unfortunately, these days, and I come from public ed, are really hard on each other, right? And so having an old backpack or a backpack that maybe isn't cool is kind of hard for a kid, right? So we make sure that students have well-quality backpacks. They're the kind of latest and greatest, whatever's cool. We make sure that we have that for students as well. And the way the backpack drive is set up is that students come in with their families, they check in, and then they shop. So there's an elementary room, a middle school room, and a high school room. And students get to pick the backpack that they want. And so if they're looking for a little sparkly unicorn backpack, or you're a high school student and you just want a black, plain North Face backpack, we have those too. And so we get donations in the form of backpacks, we get the donations in the form of school supplies, and we get the donations in the form of cash, which is part of what you all are doing. And what we do with that is to purchase additional backpacks. If we're heavy on elementary ones, we make sure that we have enough middle and high school ones. If we have lots of backpacks, but we need the supplies to fill them, we'll use the donated cash to help fill. And for those of you that have kids, it's a lot different than it used to be. Parents get a list of school supplies that they need to purchase, and it's expensive. And if you have 2 or 3 children in school, it gets expensive. And so we do the backpacks and the supplies and make sure that they're ready to go when they get their backpack. So last year they served around 1,100. This year we're hoping to serve 1,200 students, and that's close to about 560-ish families. And it's over at Alpharetta, not Methodist, Presbyterian. Sorry, see, I'm learning. And so our seasonal program will be over there. It's the week of July 20th. We do it so early, obviously, because the kids have to get their backpacks before they get ready to go to school. And so we just are so appreciative of the faith community in North Fulton for helping support this and our other seasonal programming. And we're just thankful to have you all as part of our team. So I'll be here. If you have any questions, I'll stick around. But thank you so much for this. Thank you for helping our students start off their school year really well. It's important to me as a former educator and a parent, and I'm just so excited to just say thank you to you all today for all your help. So thanks.
When we become members, we pledge our time, our treasure, and our talents. Now we'll have the offering. You may also use the Give Now option in the Breeze app on the web browser. Our 50/50 partner this month is North Fulton Charities Back to School Project. Any donation designated for 50/50 will go to that support. And now we'll collect the offering. now is the time for joys and sorrows. We'd ask you to put a pebble in the water, and by it rippling out is like us giving our joys and sorrows to the universe. We all feel connected in this room when we're together. It's that spirit we want to nurture. So if you could come up, take a pebble, tell us your name and where you're from, or just give us your name, and express your joys and sorrow. And there's something magical about that process, because the joys are magnified and the sorrows are shared.
Hello, my name is Alexandria Lexi Tagney Brown. I am your DRE. I've missed you all very much over the summer. I have 3 pebbles. The first is that my father passed last month, and I feel very grateful for the love and support that I've gotten from this congregation. I'm very grateful for the calls and the texts and the meals and everything in between for anybody that came to his service on Wednesday. And tomorrow is my son's first birthday, and next week will be my second son's 3rd birthday.
Richard Bomba, a member here. First great joy is after a year and a half of orthodontics, I got them out of my mouth finally, those plastic trays. I'm so happy to have that out of my mouth. You can't believe how much of a pain it is, but they're straight now, and I can snack all day long without having to. Okay, so anyway, that's a great joy. And another super joy, I'm full of joys, what can I say, is directed at 2 members of this congregation, because I'm single. The only closest relative I have is in Arizona, and the only friends, I swear, one friend, okay, computer tech guy, but you're it, okay? You're it for me. And I never really thought much when I came here about the care circles, you know? I'll never need it, I'm healthy. You know what? Sometimes you need a little help when you don't have anyone to help. And it's like this greatest invention y'all ever came up with these care circles. Because Betty Brown took me to a colonoscopy. You know, I mean, how many friends can you say, hey, that's, awesome. And then Shelley Nagrani spent 6 hours with me when I had my hernia surgery, because they don't let, you leave and you have to have a drive home. It's like, dang, So thank you, Betty. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, UUMAN. I just can't tell how much life I love. It's crazy.
Hello, I'm Colin. I've been coming here for a little over 2 months now, and I have a pebble. I wasn't sure what to call it, but I'm going to call it a pebble of anticipation. Some months ago, I applied to a grad school program at GSU. After not hearing about them, about a week and a half ago, I decided, hey, I just want better email, make sure everything's good. Well, a few days later, they got back to me. Everything's all good. Decision should be made any day now. Well, later that same day, I got an update that, yes, I was accepted. It was, I didn't really have a lot of doubt about it, but either way, it's a load off my shoulders.
I I won't drop my pebble this time. This is a pebble of joy. I'm Sarah Hunter. I leave this Wednesday for 2 weeks in Marquette, Michigan, where my sister and her husband live, so I'm so excited to see them.
Hey, I'm Erin. I'm not a big fan of getting up in front of people, but this joy is too big to contain. So my mom is adopted. 2 years ago, I decided to take an ancestry test, and a couple of weeks ago, I opened up Ancestry and I saw a message from her sister. So we've been kind of emailing back and forth, and we had a video chat. My mom and Dan and me had a video chat with her sister and her 2 brothers in Ireland. So we have a whole family that we had no idea existed, and we're just really excited about this new chapter and getting to know everybody, and we really hope to go to Ireland next year and meet them, and it just, like, I feel like a whole world has opened up, a new family, and it's just so exciting, so.
I have one pebble I'd like to drop. For I know a lot of you think that my ideas are trivial, but there's a place we go every week where they reward you for knowing trivia. And our team consists of several members of UUMAN, like Steve and Todd and Martin. And it's their wisdom that keeps us winning about half the time. Then I'd like to drop a second pebble, for I know that there are silent joys and sorrows that we keep in our heart. And although we don't speak it out loud, you can feel the support and the spirit in this room.
Borrowed my daughter's iPad to see if I can make this work. First of all, I want to give credit where credit is due. The putting the Coven back in covenant community part of my sermon title came from Amy Tyndall. So, when I was a child in a homeschooling evangelical Christian family in Colorado Springs, I sometimes played with Nikki, who lived across the street. Nikki had a whole playroom in her house, and she had Barbies and a boombox that she got to listen to the Hanson brothers and the Spice Girls. I'm dating myself. The only music I listened to at home were kids' Bible songs and the classical station, and I didn't have Barbies because my mom didn't like dolls with boobs. While Nikki went trick-or-treating on Halloween, my family turned off all of the lights in our house to discourage anyone from coming to our door. One day, I was playing with Nikki, and she said, "Let's pretend to be good witches." A normal 8-year-old wouldn't have thought twice about that. But I knew this was venturing into unknown territory, and I did what an obedient Christian daughter ought to do. "I have to ask my mom first," I said, and sped back across the street. "Mommy, I'm playing with Nikki. Can we pretend to be good witches?" "I don't want you pretending to be any kind of witch," she said. I tried to explain, "But we'll be good witches." "There's no such thing, Meredith." "Why?" "Because witches are women who worship Satan." I froze. Witches are real, and they worship Satan? The Calvinist Presbyterian tradition I grew up in doesn't make much of Satan outside of the Genesis creation story, nor was I taught to see him lurking in the shadows of every sinful deed. As the origin of evil, he was the necessary foil to the hero, Jesus, but he was a flat character. Once he was done tempting Eve and shed his snakeskin, he didn't have much to do. But after this brief interaction with my mom, Satan, the one-dimensional storybook villain, burst into 3D life with his own band of female worshipers called witches. I pictured haggard crones against a sinister black backdrop, lifting claw-nailed fingers in praise of their infernal master. No longer confined to Disney movies and fairy tales, witches became a living threat to Christians like me. I told Nikki I wasn't allowed to play witches, not even good witches. The next October, when she said she was going to be a beautiful witch for Halloween, I shuddered inwardly. The word witch, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is the evolution of the Old English term witche, spelled W-I-C-C-E, meaning a person, especially a woman, who practices magic or witchcraft, especially of a harmful or malevolent nature. Contrary to what Monty Python and the Holy Grail might make you think, witch hunts and witch trials were not part of the Arthurian period, and only really got started in Europe in the late 1400s. Beliefs in magic and those who can wield it go back to ancient times and occur in nearly all cultures. But equating practitioners of magic with people who make a pact with Satan for the purpose of evil-doing is a relatively recent phenomenon. Before the 1400s, witches and cunning folk were part of everyday life. Women and men who were healers and herbalists, often syncretizing pagan heritage or folklore with Christian themes to create potions, charms, and spells to help with daily life. Magic was seen as neutral, kind of like the Force in Star Wars. It could be used for harm or for good. It wasn't until the Roman Catholic Church decided that all magic practices were of the devil and that witchcraft was a form of heresy because it sought power outside the Christian God that witchcraft began to be vilified. The earliest systematic European witch trials took place in 1428 in Valais, Switzerland, and then spread to the rest of Europe and even North America. It's hard to pinpoint numbers, but scholars estimate that between 40 and 50,000 people, the vast majority of whom were women, were executed for witchcraft between the 14th and 18th centuries. Those accused of witchcraft were often women who were seen as different by their communities. Some were ethnic outsiders or indigenous people under the rule of colonizers. Some were poor and ostracized. Others were rich widows or single women who weren't under the authority of a husband. Many of these women didn't fit the mold of submissive, dependent, married femininity that both the Catholic and Protestant churches prescribe for women. One such woman was Helena Schubrin of Innsbruck, Austria, who in 1485 was accused of witchcraft and put on trial by Heinrich Kramer, a monk who'd been appointed part of the Catholic Inquisition to root out heretics. Helena Schubrin was a rich and outspoken woman who had a reputation for exercising sexual freedom, something disapproved of in Christian women. Helena knew Heinrich Kramer's reputation as an inquisitor and witch hunter, and was probably aware that he had presided over the trial and execution of 2 accused witches in Ravensbrück before coming to Innsbruck. Passing Kramer in the street, Helena reportedly spat on the ground and said, "Fie on you, bad monk, may the falling evil take you." Helena also refused to attend Kramer's sermons and warned others away. Kramer retaliated by having Helena and 6 other women of Innsbruck put on trial for witchcraft. Luckily, they were able to get a lawyer who was trained in church law, and he convinced the court that Kramer had not followed proper procedure in the trial. Helena and the other women were released, and the humiliated Kramer eventually left Innsbruck. Unfortunately, Kramer then went on to write Malleus Maleficarum, Hammer of the Witches, a textbook for witch hunters full of misogynistic rants and lurid fantasies about the evils of witchcraft. Kramer claimed that the vast majority of witches were women because women were naturally defective, quote, more carnal than men, and since they are feebler both in mind and body, it is not surprising that they should come more under the spell of witchcraft. Kramer gives as proof of this the story of Eve succumbing to the temptation of the serpent in Genesis. After arguing that it is an essential part of Christian doctrine to believe in the existence of women who make pacts with the devil and carry out everything from child sacrifice to penis amputation, Kramer then goes on to outline how witch trials should be carried out, including how to extort confessions from suspected witches through torture and how sentences should be passed upon them. Though Kramer's book was initially condemned by Catholic authorities, a papal bull by Pope Innocent VIII led to Malleus Maleficarum becoming an authoritative text for inquisitors and witch hunters, both Catholic and Protestant, throughout the 16th century. Official witch trials in Europe and North America gradually died out as more and more people became skeptical of the existence or efficacy of so-called pacts with Satan, and the prejudices and tainted motives of both accusers and witch hunters were called into question. Nevertheless, the mindset of the witch hunt continued on. Anyone who questioned the status quo, who stood up to powerful men and powerful institutions, might find themselves attacked and demonized. This brings us to the question, what do witches have to do with Unitarian Universalism? The earliest Unitarians were dissenters and nonconformists, not afraid of going against the accepted church doctrine of the time. Joseph Priestley, the brilliant chemist who helped found the first Unitarian church in Britain, was forced to flee England to the United States in 1792. His public dissension from Anglican theology, his support for the French Revolution, and his critiques of the British government so enraged his opponents that effigies of him were burned and he was compared to the devil. Meanwhile, George de Benville, born in 1703, was one of the founders of the modern Universalist movement. He was almost executed by the French government for preaching his belief in universal salvation, and only a last-minute pardon from the king saved his life. These are just 2 examples, but Unitarian Universalists have a lot of spiritual ancestors. Musicians, poets, authors, activists, abolitionists, suffragists, scientists, lawyers, and many more who have quietly or loudly gone against the grain and resisted the established norms of their societies. From Isaac Newton to Paul Newman, Beatrix Potter to Kurt Vonnegut, Charles Darwin to Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Unitarians, Universalists, and modern UUs haven't shied away from pissing off the Heinrich Kramers of their various days and ages. They haven't been afraid of being, dare I say, kinda witchy. So what is a modern witch? Defining the modern witch can be tricky. Just like Unitarian Universalism, there's no central creed of witchcraft, no single sacred text, no centralized spiritual government. Ask 100 witches and you'll get more than 100 answers, says a Reddit user on a thread titled, "What Makes a Person a Witch?" Wiccan High Priestess Thorn Mooney writes, "Witchcraft is an expansive, even unruly conglomeration of a lot of different flavors and traditions. There is no single practice, perspective, or lexicon that perfectly defines it." Another way witchcraft is like Unitarian Universalism is that it can coexist with other religious practices. You can be a pagan, Hindu, atheist, or even Christian witch. You don't have to subscribe to any particular deity or any deity at all. You can pray or not. You can do spells or not. You can build an altar or not. You can adapt your witchcraft to whatever fits your vibe. You can be a green witch, a house witch, an eclectic witch, a hedge witch, a folk witch, a chaos witch, or none of the above. Being a witch is about embracing your own power and energy and wielding it in the ways you see fit without reference to any other authority. And that gets to the heart of why witches have always been vilified and continue to be so even in modern times. The people in power, from popes and presidents to bureaucracies and billionaires, can't stand the idea of people not bowing the knee to them. An ordinary person embracing their own power, especially a woman or a person of color or a queer person, scares the absolute shit out of patriarchal and authoritarian institutions. And those institutions will do whatever they can to keep people afraid of their power. This is why last month, Turning Point USA, founded by the late far-right activist Charlie Kirk, platformed speaker Nolene Sedra, who called feminism a demonic, satanic death cult, and then defended the Salem witch trials, claiming that the church was executing witches for performing abortions. This is why flagship evangelical Christian organization Focus on the Family warns parents that girls are more susceptible to witchcraft because of its focus on the power and identity it offers them. The author warns that we live in a culture that is extremely keen to see women have a voice and to be empowered. And yeah, they mean that as a bad thing. Their religion doesn't want women, or anybody except straight white men, to be empowered or have a voice. This is why for over half my life, I was programmed to believe my role as a female was to sit down, shut up, and do as I was told. Fortunately for me, there's a witchy streak in me that's really, really bad at that. So what do I want for you, my covenant community of Unitarian Universalists, to take away from this witchy message of mine? First, understand that the attitude of othering that burned women at the stake never went away. It has just presented itself in different forms at different times. We can see it in something as silly as the early 2000s evangelical Christian furor over the Harry Potter books, and in something as horrific as the current presidential administration's persecution of transgender individuals. Sadly, witch hunts are alive and well. From Joan of Arc to Stormy Daniels, those in power have done and will do whatever they can to silence the folks who stand up to them. Secondly, realize that as a covenant community, we are engaged in the work of resistance to those oppressive forces. Just as there's no one way to be a witch and no one way to be a Unitarian Universalist, there's no one way to fight. Our methods of resistance will be as eclectic and unruly as witchcraft itself. Any action that brings more love, more compassion, more peace, more kindness, more justice, more hope, more beauty into this world is an act of resistance. Like Helena Schuberin, we can look hate, bigotry, and greed in the eye and say, "Fie on you," and then go out and show the world a better way. My mom's antiquated definition of witch was thrust upon the victims of the European and American witch trials against their will. And in certain countries, the demonization and even murder of accused witches continues in our present time. We can honor the innocent victims of witch trials by reclaiming the witch label as a form of resistance against all those who seek to oppress the vulnerable. Kelly Ann Maddox, author of Rebel Witch, writes, "Due to the emphasis on personal power, witch is a word that tends to pick up political and radical overtones. Many witches currently see the label as a way of professing their willingness to take responsibility into their own hands, fighting for justice and ensuring they're not siding with any kind of system or institution that denigrates others or harms the planet. For some, witch is seen as a word that naturally connects to the experience of oppression, offering a strengthening elixir to help in the battle against it." So the last thing I want my covenant community to take away is, remember your power. Maybe you access it through burning incense and dancing beneath a full moon. Maybe working out and listening to an uplifting podcast is more your style, or meditation or music. Just remember, we all have power. Find the method of channeling it that works best for you. Then wield it without fear, without apology, without hesitation. Write, sing, create, speak, march, plant, nurture, teach, advocate, empower. Get out there and make some magic.
It's too easy to draw this conclusion. Do any of you remember the church lady on Saturday Night Live? And what she would say to Meredith if she was here? Well, aren't we special, Meredith? Bringing here, talking about witches. Who could have made you say that? Let me think. Who could have made you say that? Was it Satan? So now, stand and sing 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive. Meredith, can you extinguish the light as we say together? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts to well together again.
I have two quotes for our benediction this morning. The first is from Gabriella Herstick. Being a witch means living in this world consciously, powerfully, and unapologetically. I would add, being a Unitarian Universalist is that too. And then the second one, I tried to find the source for it. It's been mistakenly sourced to Madeline Miller, but that's actually false, so this is anonymous, but I liked it. Witches do not kneel, they do not grovel, they do not beg. Witches rise and they fight. Go in power and make some magic this week.